Hi, and welcome to the R2RB Women Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. And my guest today is Angela Colone, Miss Coexist at Stone and Sage Metaphysical Holistic Healing Center in Milford, Delaware. Angela, thank you for being my guest today. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for inviting me to do this with you, Deb. I'm really excited.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm excited too. So I like to ask two questions to get us warmed up. If you could have one superpower, which one would you have and why?
That's hard to think about. I feel like a lot of the work that I'm kind of doing right now is almost superhuman. But if I had to actually think about like a specific superpower, it would probably be making like the right choice at the right time and knowing that it's going to like move forward, like just being so grounded and knowing that yes is the answer or no is the answer. Because I feel like sometimes that, in balance and that shift of being confused or thinking and not really going with the intuition all the time, to just know would be awesome.
All right. Okay. I like that. That works. All right. If would you rather have every traffic light turn green or always have the best parking spot?
The best parking spot. I like stopping at red lights every once in a while and stop signs because it gives you a sense of looking around and kind of checking in again and pausing for a moment. Where, definitely the best parking spot. No matter where I'm going to go, I know I'm always good to park because sometimes we're running late, and then I'm like, oh, I hope I can get a spot, especially in that fondue space. Especially over the weekend at Bug and Bud Festival, I was like, oh my gosh, I hope I get a parking spot at 7 a.m. when I'm there, and I did.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about it that being early because that did start early, but I understand the parking. I mean, I've been down there for events in Milford and it can be a little challenging.
Yeah. Yes, it can.
All right. Why the name Miss Coexist, and is there a meaning that goes with it?
So I chose Miss Coexist because every time I would drive around and I would see that Coexist sticker, I always got really excited because it's everybody coming together. No matter what background you have, where you come from, your roots, religions, relationships with spirit or source. It's just the coexistence and collaborating of being together as one in that unity. That's kind of what I try and hold space for everyone. I think that the Miss Coexist came at a time where I didn't really know specifically what I wanted to brand myself with as a spiritual practitioner or healer. So I just kind of thought that kind of went with everything.
Yeah, no, it does. Oh, I like that. I'm glad I asked that question because you are so inclusive, and I'm sure it'll be even more as you go along. So, I like that. Thank you. All right. So before your spiritual journey, you had some different careers. Why don't we start with your journey, your career journey that led up to where you are now?
As a child, I was raised in restaurants. So my parents always owned restaurants. And ever since I can remember, I was always either serving or refilling cups or rolling silverware. And that kind of was just branded in me that after school we would walk to the restaurant and then get to work after, we were doing homework. Yeah, definitely the restaurant stuck with me for a very, very long time.
Oh, wow.
I had lots of work in places, like selling clothes and retail. Then I became a mom and I went into the early childhood space. I wanted to grow with my son and understand and learn with him. So I went to school for teaching early childhood education for a while. Then as I got older with my son, and I was always kind of juggling. And I call myself a holistic juggler now, but like I was always chasing the money, always hustling, paying for my gas, my car, our clothes. Every time I got a new job, I kind of just really gave it my all. And the last few workspaces that I was in, I was a dog treat bakery. So I worked so I got out of the restaurant business, but I still found myself in baking and I was doing shipping products. And then during that time, COVID hit. It really made me realign, and I started working overnight for Lowe's. I enjoyed working overnight, kind of being by myself again and stocking the shelves, just kind of hanging out, playing my earbuds, no worry about people being around. It was very quiet there, but it was only seasonal. And then that's when I was looking into like the postal service. We're always trained to like work 40 hours plus a week, get a 401k,
Right.
get your health benefits,
Exactly.
do all of these things. So I really went hard into the postal service. And then I really felt defeated because I was working so hard. It was a lot of time away from myself, from my family.
Right.
I had to rely on my kid to help with extra things around the house. We got like those like HelloFresh meals delivered to the doorstep. So that was kind of like his additional science project, was cooking 3 days a week for the family, just because I wasn't home.
Right.
But by the time I got there, it was nice to like sit down and talk, just to go back to sleep, wake up the next day and deliver 500, Amazon packages. So I felt really defeated. And, I remember working in my case in the postal room. I know my energy was just off, and people can feel it. And they were like, "Hey, so you seem kind of down." And I'm like, "I am." I'm exhausted. This is a lot. It's not that I didn't want to do it, but it wasn't serving me in return. I just kept asking myself, why am I putting so much into this if I'm not receiving anything back? So I had a conversation with my God in that case, and I was like, whatever is next, because I know this is not how you wanted me to serve the world with Amazon packages.
Right.
I'm extremely grateful, by the way, for the postal service and Amazon, but it was just not for me. And then I had an email from my shaman, who I haven't spoke to in years, and she was doing an emerging shaman course, and the alignment of that. And then my one friend texting me needing a janitor position, custodian at a campground. I was like, this is perfect. I get to have a part-time outside work by myself, kind of more relaxed. I know how to clean because I worked for cleaning companies in the past too. And I actually still have that job today.
Oh, wow.
So I still work there part-time. We open full-time on Thursday.
Oh my God.
I want to let go of it. I'm slowly letting go of things. But it's that scary feeling of giving your everything to one job, when I've always been in like a hustle mentality.
Right.
So I'm still practicing that. I've also been I want to call myself a entrepreneur, because I do a lot of haunting, and I was a character, and I still am a character. So working for a lot of haunted attractions and letting myself get into a character and expressing myself. And I just actually went to a haunters convention this past weekend.
I saw your post.
It was so much fun.
I did. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So from healer to squealer, all those jobs really made me me.
Right.
And I loved what I was doing for many moments that I was in those. But now I'm just so much more fulfilled with understanding that I don't need to keep doing so much, that it works for me the way it's supposed to work for me.
Yeah. So one of the questions I was going to ask, but I'm going to ask it differently, was, did you always know that there was something you couldn't put your finger on, but knew you needed to go in a different direction? So you've always had a sense, you've always followed that sense that you've had, that there's something else that you need to visit, that you need to explore. You reach out to your God, and then, your shaman reached out to you, and just, it all seems that you are so in tune with yourself, I feel.
It's part of the survival mode.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's very true, and you've done so many things, and that's absolutely fine. I think that's awesome, because I've done the same, but I always called it, I kept reinventing myself, with my guy, I have 4 children. So, and I had a husband, we raised the 4 kids and everything, but I had to bounce to different things also because of different situations, just like you have. But I love that you have always had that self-sense about yourself, and been able to follow what you've been able to follow. I have to ask the question because I think we've gotten up to where you are now, almost to Stone and Sage and Stone. And where did the roller derby come into play?
Being a new mom, it was hard for me to find my space to have community, to have friends. I got pregnant I was one of the first people to get pregnant out of my friends group right out of high school. I was again in the restaurant business, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is wild. I'm going to have a baby. Fast forward to like 5 years later, I just really felt lost with myself because I didn't have anything for me. I felt like I was always doing stuff for my family at that time, and then my son, and I was working, and I always loved crafting, creating, making stuff, making things. But I didn't have something that held me accountable to like show up. And I remember looking in the guide and I saw that roller derby was coming to Milford, which is funny because it was at the Milford Skating Center. I want to say that was back in 2011 was when we started Southern Delaware Roller Derby, and then, well, Southern Delaware Roller Girls at that time. And then in the meantime, we were making a lot of connections. I was exploring myself, finding my empowerment with me, other moms. Like most of the team were moms. So we got to bring our kids, and they ran around, and they would bring their pillows and blankets, and it would be like, okay, guys, time to lay down. Like y'all have school in the morning, but we would have practice till like 10 o'clock at night. But it was so rewarding because our kids kind of grew up together too, like we did. It was the connection that I felt like I really needed, and really pushing myself to each limit, and then I met Kat, Pussycat Malls. So I met Pussycat Malls through roller derby, and she came down from Pennsylvania. So it was really cool to work in that environment as a fun hobby. Right. But really committing ourselves to that. Whatever you went throughout the day, you would come and just take it out on the ring.
There you go.
Which now I find that on my yoga mat. So it's different. You know what I mean? Like I'm changing, and I'm allowing myself to explore what my body needed at that time to really let myself experience that release and empowerment, where now I'm like, I did those things right before COVID happened. I was on 3 roller derby leagues. Wow. And then I was just questioned with like, is this enough? Like, what's enough? What am I trying to prove? Where am I trying to go? Yeah. And then once COVID happened and roller derby started coming back, I found myself in it a little bit, in and out. But because during COVID was when I was working with energy. And taking my shamanic courses and Reiki and getting grounded with working at the campgrounds, being a cleaner. I was just really focused on me and my own inner work. I really enjoyed coming out, but then when I'm getting certain downloads of things, I realize like, whoa, this isn't kind of energy I want to be in anymore because I've changed a lot. Right. You know, grow. So yeah. And I absolutely love it. There's not a day that doesn't go by where I don't think about my skates or the star helmet or making some points. And then I'm like, that was the time that I needed there for me to experience that, to get me into a space of community where now I'm in a different space holding for the collective.
Yeah, absolutely. I find, first of all, I think you're amazing. And I find your dedication and your hard work, putting your family first, and then finding time where you needed something for yourself, and just taking each step along the way and using what you needed out of that time. And then just to keep forward and moving forward. I think people, including myself, get so stuck sometimes. We don't know, and we have blindfolds on, and we sometimes forget to take those off to see beyond. I think if more people have and could follow you and even speak with you, that, you need to like look beyond what's right in front of you, just to roll with it as you have. And I think that's so fantastic that, kudos to you.
It was a lot too, because I went through different relationships when I was playing roller derby. And a lot of it came back to me like, you're being selfish, but I'm thinking like, I needed to get out for me. Sure. Like this is part of my self-care. Absolutely. I'm an athlete. I'm taking my son with me. Right. He's exploring cities with me. Or he's enjoying time with his, grandparents or his father or whatever. This was a way for me to see different states, because I was never a traveler really before. So roller derby got me in competitions where I can go to Michigan, go to New Jersey, and it just seems like, wow, New Jersey is only a few hours away. Yeah, but for someone that didn't, that's never been places or have people to go with,
Yeah.
and feel safe and secure while traveling, that was a big reason to why I did it.
Sure.
And the community again, meeting so many people. I met so many people through roller derby and I never felt alone. So now it's a different space with me being who I am now.
Right.
And exploring and telling people you're not alone when you're feeling like, you know, there's something around the corner,
Right.
or is this my intuition or my nervous system?
Right, exactly.
Like,
And for your son, I mean, that's, you get life experiences right, up front and center. I mean, not everybody gets that chance. Yes, it might be different for other people looking in. They're not walking in your shoes. So don't be, saying what you say, some other people will say sometimes, but your son, again, such great life lessons, and have a mom who is so ambitious and willing to do the things that you've done with him in the forefront.
Oh yeah.
So that,
he never even always had, even when I went through my shift of changing my work to shamanism, he's like, Mom, we're Christian. What are you doing? Because again, the unknowing,
of course,
and being, trained to think in a box for so long. And I was like, God told me to do this. So, and he is like very supportive. He's 19 now.
Wow.
And actually he's going to college for a physical therapy at Del Tech, but he also works in a restaurant. And I'm like, I did everything I could to get you out of a restaurant, but marinara is in our bloodline. And that boy goes to work in that restaurant and loves to serve the people with the food. And I'm like, that's my dad working through him. So
yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that story. That is so great. Absolutely. So at that point, then, did your spiritual journey really start to materialize for you? Did you really then start putting your feelings together for that?
So when I was working at the campground in the beginning, I had the time to do my courses and my classes, my workshops with my shaman. And before I was even finished my classes with her, she was like, I've got clients for you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm ready. And she's like, nope, you're good. Here you go. So it's just like the push. You're going out into it. And I'm like, all right, well, here we go. We're going out to it. And I loved it because it gave me a little bit more of like, you've been wanting to do this.
Right.
So just do it. Go in it confidently, authentically, just be yourself. No one's going to duplicate that. No one's going to take that away from you, and allow your experiences to be shared. While I was still doing cleaning, that's a lot of grounding. So while I'm doing these monotonous work things of taking out the trash and, cleaning toilets, and, but my head was always thinking about my processes of what I was actually doing with other things going on. And reminding myself of like what I've been reading and what I've been learning. And then I talked to Kat. She was like, hey, since you're cleaning, would you want to clean my house? She's a businesswoman.
Right,
so she's got multiple businesses. So I was like, absolutely. You're helping me. I'm helping you. I've known you for years. Like, let's do it. So I was cleaning her Airbnbs. And then one day I was cleaning up her house and she was there. And she was in the kitchen and I was in like the living room area part, but we were like talking back and forth to each other. She is like just so exhausted from the food truck industry. It was really hard to get it up and moving and actually getting the money in. Like it was a lot pouring out, and there wasn't like a balance with it. I could just hear Kat's exhaustion. And she was like, you know what I really want? And I was like, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. And she was like, I really want just like a little witchy store with crystals and books. I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm like sweeping faster into her kitchen. And I'm like, do you know what I go to school for now? It was really fun to talk about that. She and her, like some of her friends who also played roller derby with us. And then myself, we were like writing up a proposal about what we were going to do. And I was already working in my backyard and practicing Reiki out of my house.
Oh, wow.
So I had already started building up clients and workshops.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, we can bring these to the store. Like we can bring these to the community for the people to do and, gather in and do some space, do some fun activities and learn about spiritualities and themselves.
Right.
Like really focusing in on the true being. Sure enough, she was like, I got the space. My jaw just dropped. And I was like, we have work to do. And we got a little bit of like, anytime there's a new space, people are always like, going back and forth with it, especially in Milford, there's lots of churches. So we had a little bit of stuff going on in the community, but ultimately it has been nothing but fantastic and growth. Everybody has been so supportive, family, friends, people that were like, I'm so happy you're here because we needed this. And the store is a coexistence place.
Exactly.
And then we have the healing center. So it's like you have the excitement.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And then while I was doing Reiki in the store, I started to get a lot more clients. Like we actually built the one room in the store because
I remember that being built. Yep.
I was doing clients on Sundays, and after Saturdays we would close. So I would do clients for private Reiki sessions in like where the books are in the Stone Sage Metaphysical shop. It just started going really fast. And I was like, I need to do this like during the day. We need to figure this out. So we made the room, which is now the reader's room. But again, it was amazing. We were doing workshops in that little like library part of our room.
Right.
There was just so many people that we can fit in there. And I told Kat, I'm like, we're going to need another building. We're going to need another building. Then that's when the holistic center rolled into place. And she's like, I'm signing. And so it's cool because you have the metaphysical shop where you can go and explore and tap into all the cool, fun things.
Right.
And then you can really settle in and learn about it and get some healing practice with those things at the center where we have our meditations. And then we grew into the salt room and red light therapy. So we broadened it and expanded.
Yeah, it has been such a journey. I spoke to Kat when she first opened up the store. So I have been, watching as she has grown, as you have grown from the store to the healing center and to where, you all are now with your journey. So you are a spiritual healer. Tell us what that is.
Basically, a shaman is the medicine woman or man, and the shaman walks through realms. So I have like 1 foot on earth, 1 foot in spiritual space. So I'm basically channeling and communicating in those other worldly spaces.
Okay.
I've also just got certified in being a death doula. That's helping people pass after or during the dying. So it's kind of like how people have the birth doula.
Right.
They go through that space of being excited about coming into the world. The death doula is allowing them to get their comfort on extending themselves away from their physical human body. I'm also a Reiki master, shamanic healer, yoga, yogi, and sound healer.
And an ordained minister.
Yeah, and an ordained minister, which I actually have a gender reveal that I'm doing on Sunday. So I'm extremely excited because I'm the only person that knows the gender. And then next Saturday or the following Saturday on the 10th, I'm doing my first wedding. So yeah, I'm just checking a lot of things off. Those things that I never thought I could do. And it's just been so rewarding and exciting because I'm allowed to do this and I'm worthy of it. And I feel confident.
Yeah, you finally have landed in this area that you have just absorbed and you just like have exploded. Yeah, no, it's true. And I do come to the yoga. And I just know that the women that come at that time too, I mean, we all feel, we feel safe. We feel empowered with whatever way we can move ourselves. I know I never feel pressure that I have to twist myself into a pretzel because that was one of the things I think in the beginning.
Right. Yeah. Calling it mindful movement has definitely brought a lot more different people in rather than your typical yoga session.
Yeah.
And knowing that there isn't any pressure and there's always support. And if you just want to come to the mat and relax and shavasana the whole time, like you don't have to be in mountain pose and you don't have to be, I love those little spicy pulse movements that we do with the stretch and flex, but then just knowing your awareness too of, I don't need to do all that, but wait a minute, I couldn't do that before.
No.
So it's been very rewarding watching, getting the lesson plans ready for like workshops or, my Reiki meditations or our sound journeys. I'm always trying to find like a little bit of a theme. But then once you start just doing it, it just comes and it flows. People enjoy either knowing what to expect or not knowing anything at all and having a whole new experience when they walk into it. I just did my first shamanic storytelling in Maryland at a hemp farm. It was amazing doing a campfire story and just the energy of everybody collectively there releasing. And it was so powerful. And there was like 100 people there.
Oh, wow.
So that was the biggest event that I was able to help with the host. And for her to ask me to come there was just such an honor to hold space for that amount of people.
Absolutely.
So again, it's like kind of just getting yourself out of that comfort zone and exploring it, you know.
But on the other side, for somebody like me, you know, getting out of my comfort zone is always a big thing. But then to walk into a new space and feel comfortable, feel welcomed, knowing that you know, I'm in a room with other women, you know, more or less around my own age, but you just make it on a different level so we don't feel out of place.
Oh, thank you.
No, absolutely.
And I just want everybody to feel good with what they're coming for themselves. So I don't try and make it very specific and put it in a box, because I know for the longest time we've already been put in boxes.
Right.
So it's like, you know what, whatever happens is going to happen. Like it's a party every time. There's this explosive of joy and love and happiness.
Good energy, all good energy.
And if there's not, and if you need to like be upset or angry, it's also nice because we don't take things personally.
Right.
We've just been like, oh, you feel that, okay. And let yourself experience it.
Yes.
Because again, so for humans, we don't get a chance to experience those emotions in certain places. So we're always carrying so much on our shoulders and wearing 100 different masks. It's nice to just be like, no, I want to be angry right now. And I'm like, that's right. Let's be angry. Like bring it out. Like,
and you give everybody a space to do that. You have different nights where you do different classes for I'm going to say different emotions that you can bring out, which is cool. Very cool.
And it starts with just knowing what you want for yourself.
Yes.
So I always wanted a space where I can just let myself scream. And then, you know, working at like a haunted house, there's no judgment. I can scream all I want for the fall, you know, and now it's like I'm bringing out into like our getting ready to do more yoga, and it's just like middle finger mudras the whole time. Like if you want to cuss, let yourself cuss. I'm not gonna. It's just letting it out, because we have to let these things out and overcome some of those things.
Important.
That
absolutely. Very important, because I think all of us get into, especially in the last 5 years, I think we've all gotten into a place where it's not always a good place, and yet we don't know what to do with that negative energy. And then some of us restore that negative energy, and then we go down the hole, and we don't always know how to, you know, get ourselves back out. So having a safe place and an energetic place like you have,
and knowing you're not alone. Like a lot of people they just don't know how to talk about it.
Right.
So a lot of times I don't even we could do a pass and share. You can either share it or pass it.
Right.
And that's okay. But know that like once people keep coming back for some reason. And I'm like, they don't share anything, but they just keep signing up for these classes. And I'm like, cool, because whatever they're receiving, it's working for them.
Absolutely. Would never have thought that. All right. So let me ask you this. In a world full of fast-paced, instant gratification, always looking for that next fad, connected 24/7 to our phones, tablets, etc., how do you balance your life these days to keep a sense of spiritual well-being for yourself?
That is a great question. Because again, I was just talking to somebody earlier in a session, and we were talking about how we didn't know a lot of things when we were growing up. The children are in a space where they can learn so much more because of the internet.
Right. Exactly.
So sometimes we're just sitting there scrolling and we're just attached to our phones. And I do a lot of promoting, like cross promoting. I'm always trying to, you know, market myself, the stores, the center, also our healers that are in, because it's the collaboration. So really I try and get myself away. As much as I can. I try and turn myself off. If I do find myself on my phone, I make sure that I'm liking and like following positive affirmations, people that do the work that I do. Like I like tarot readers, or what else was it? Some astrologers. So, and a lot of science too. I try and find and look up ways of how the science works in spirituality, the frequency works. So even if I'm online, I'm still actively trying to grow and learn.
Okay.
I don't really watch a lot of TV. I do enjoy my movies, but it's usually like the same movies over and over because it's just, I know what I like and I know what to expect. So it lets my mind kind of like wander off elsewhere. But I really think it's also why I enjoy doing the custodian work at the campground, because when I'm there, I am fully there and detached from my Facebook or promoting or events. And I don't have that look at who's emailing me.
Right.
In that moment, I am there. And a lot of times with me working outside there, I can look up at the sun. I'm not in a room.
Right.
I love Milford, but I got to get out. And I look out and I'm like, oh, hey, Irish Rose, hey, Dolce. Like, so it is nice to get out and really making that practice too, to be outside.
Mm-hmm.
My fiance has a motorcycle, and I know that if it's nice out, I'm like, hey, Justin, can we go for a ride? Because I know my phone is in my pocket. I have my helmet on, and I'm just letting everything move around me.
Yeah, it's so important.
And again, with doing yoga too, it really helps in that meditation space. It helps you focus on everything else rather than what's going on outer.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important to have that self-care time, whatever works, and that you know that you need to do that and that you have that to fall back on so that you can continue on with what
and lots of baths.
Yeah.
Lots of soak in the bathtub. Always.
There you go. Sounds good. All right. So why don't you tell us a little bit what the Holistic Healing Center, the classes you offer?
So I do mindful movements, which we were just talking about. That's like a yoga class, but it's a little bit more than just yoga. It's kind of like a work in and a workout.
Mm-hmm.
I bring in some stretch and flex, some spicy movements, but again, it's like alternatives that you don't have to always do. I kind of talk to the people too. So it's not like a lot of Sanskrit. I don't use the asana poses in Sanskrit. I just talk you through it. A lot of our classes done with our eyes closed or just kind of like, no one's looking at me. The lights are off. This is nice.
Yeah.
Because again, when you go to a gym and you're doing some yogas, like the fluorescent lighting is there and everybody's looking at each other if I'm doing the pose right or wrong. And I'm like, just breathe, just close your eyes. Nobody's looking at you. They don't care what you're doing on your mat.
No.
We don't really always have a flow. Like we have the same kind of movements, but it's always different.
Right.
So that's mindful movement. We do that 3 days a week. That's not part of the holistic center itself. It's done before the center opens.
Right.
So that's why it's not broadcasted so much, because it's like my own class there. And then we have the Women's Organized Meditation and Bonding Group. So we call that WOMB. I do that with Laura from the Gypsy Blues. She's the tarot reader at Stone and Sage on Tuesdays. And in that class, it's really, really empowering to get those womb holders together, let themselves explore again with some of the things that have come up with shadow, with trauma, with codependency. And we do workshops, or in the workshop, we do activities, we do journaling. It's a lot of guided journaling and discussion. We do a ceremony for releasing at the end. We make the aesthetic very comforting and I want to say pretty, with flowers and roses and petals and the crystals. It's just, and the lights again are nice and dark with all lit candles. And we're just talking for a while before we do those intention activities. We also bring in Oracle and tarot cards. So during the womb group, work with a tarot and a goddess. We collaborate with those deities, those goddess energies, and then like matching them with cards of the tarot deck. Because a lot of people are learning now how to get their divination messages with those tools that we never really knew about, but they've been around forever. So that's nice to have that. Then we have Healing Reiki Circle. I have that on every Wednesday at the end of the month. That is, again, coming together to learn about Reiki, to practice it, to share it, to set intentions for the night, for yourself, for the world, for those around you. And you don't need to have any experience. I don't teach symbolism or anything like that in the Reiki share, but Kat and I will be doing certified Reiki courses coming up in June. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh, awesome.
But this is kind of like a little, I want to say teaser, I guess, if you don't know what Reiki is.
Okay.
It's only $15, but again, you don't have to be experienced.
Okay.
Because it's all intention set and base. It's learning about the chakra system, how we store things in our body, how we can release it, working with the energy, feeling the flow, And again, I love having these workshops because you need to play. You need to have a place to play and express.
Right.
And we've been taught for so long, like, once you're done being a child, you don't have an imagination. You don't have the flow of creativity.
Right? Oh
What
my
you're
God.
doing isn't real. And I'm like, we're literally out here full of magic. Why are we not playing with this magic?
Oh my God. Yeah. Wow.
And then we also have tarot in action, which again, I work with Laura of the Gypsy Blues in that class. And tarot in action is specifically working with the tarot cards. It's intuitively giving readings. I use tarot when I do readings, but I've always used Oracle more so because I connected faster with it. Tarot for me was hard. When I was doing readings with tarot cards, I was understanding the messages without actually studying it.
Oh, wow.
So it's like intuitive messages of knowing what those cards mean, how they tell the story. So we're practicing again because people like to see it to believe it.
Right.
That's why we like to use cards. That's why we like to use runes. That's why we like to, throw whatever we have to throw, because you can take a picture and you can go back and think about it and you can see it. And you're like, yeah, that lady wasn't making that up.
Right.
How would she have known any of that?
Exactly. Yeah. Wow.
So it's nice because everybody just has to tap into their own magic.
Right.
And this is the perfect place to do it at the center with
a
ton of workshops. And we're always broadcasting our team because everybody brings such cool things to the table.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. That's right. Do you go to stoneandsage.com, Facebook? Because I know you have to go and click on the event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's stoneandsagede@gmail.com to send an email, and stoneandsagede.com to get to our event links.
Okay.
Or if you visit Eventbrite, you look up Stone and Sage, and the whole calendar will just come up.
That was such a great idea too. I remember when the store first opened up and Kat was doing that, using that, because your space is small at the store when she was holding different events, and that was a great way just to keep your numbers in check. And then do you use that then also for the healing center?
Yeah. So all of the workshops besides the intuition circle are held at the center.
Okay.
Dr. Carol usually reads on the last Saturdays of the month. So by having it at the store, she's already there.
Right.
But for everything else, having the center is so nice because we have so much more space. We can fit so many more people.
Yeah.
We can do the activities. We can do the, circle session. We have multiple bathrooms. And then when we've been doing our retreats there, it has been so rewarding because we have different rooms and you can put people in different rooms at different times to flow.
Right. Right. You also have do a vision board for spirituality, right? Tell me about that.
It's kind of funny because as a kid, I was always drawn to we didn't have text messaging, right? So we always made little notes that you would fold up into a football and pass them to each other. Or else we did this thing where you'd have a notebook and then your notebook would be your collage of you and your friends, and you would pass the book back and forth. And I guess that was kind of our first Facebook, right? So I always loved Mod Podging and collaging and cutting and scissoring. And it was always something I enjoyed doing. And then I realized what I was actually doing with it. So doing the vision boards is really making something that you're putting your intentions in as a reminder that these are the things that you want. So a lot of people, when they go to vision board classes, they think that okay, we're just going to cut up some magazines and stick some glue and some, fun stickers on a book or on the paper, on the poster board. But it's a little different with mine because I do a meditation and then I ask serious questions about why people are even there and what they want and why they want it and what are they doing to get it and what are you promising yourself to do.
Oh, wow.
So it's very intense. And a lot of people are I didn't think I was going to have to think, but this is your vision, right? You're manifesting. So you really have to think about what you're putting into action. So I love to do the vision boards. And then I'm always constantly making new ones. And at the end of the year, I burn them.
Oh, wow.
I burn the ones I've done for the year to just really release it and let it go.
Oh, okay.
And I start new. And then when I take a picture of my vision board, I always put it as my background on my phone.
Oh, look at you.
So every time I look at my phone, I'm always reminded to, detach from assumptions and tend to create a haven, value others and yourself, embrace the best and worst case scenarios. Plus then I have pizza on there because I love pizza.
That's such a great idea. I mean, we all have our phones in front of us all the time. You might as well have your vision board along with you as well, because we all get so caught up in a day-to-day things that we do tend to forget very easily of what we've
always just
started
checking
out.
the time. A notification. Remember the Buddha face. Every time I get the notification, the first thing I see is the Buddha face. So it's like the reminder of calming my face and
Yeah. So
the positive energy.
Do you do the vision board class once a month, or I'm sorry, I didn't.
So I like to do them when people do private events,
okay.
or else we'll do quarterly check-ins.
Okay.
So usually at December and then again in June, July.
Oh, cool.
Quarterly as in like we just did them in March, April. So womb for the Women's Organized Meditation Bonding Group, we work with Persephone for March and April. In March, we talked about our timeline.
Okay.
And Persephone works with both spring and winter. So it's like 6 months she's down and dirty doing that shadow stuff. And then in the other 6 months, she's on earth and it's spring and glorious. So it's about things resting and putting it to sleep while growing and nurturing and expanding. So we worked with Persephone for 2 months. Okay. So in March, what we did was we really laid out and we took a file folder and we wrote down our timeline of events. As far back as you can remember, celebrations or traumas, like everything that made you in those, in that folder. Then the women brought back their file folder, and then we did vision boards on the outside, because everything that we're manifesting and bringing into action, we wouldn't have any of it if it wasn't for our timeline.
Right.
So again, it's just a reminder of I can do all these things because I've already done all of that.
Oh, I love that.
Super powerful. And being able to hear people's stories and connect again. And Laura and I, when we do these things, like, or when we're just doing our own workshops, we're actively participating with the group. So it's not like just me being a teacher and lecturing.
Right.
Like, I will openly cry. I'll openly get angry. Like, I'll be like, this is what happened. This is effed up. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel for you. Yeah. So we're throwing the tissue box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes a difference. I feel that, if you have somebody like you conducting this class that can be as emotional and invested in what you're giving to the people that come makes a big difference. Wow.
It's the authenticity again. Like you just got to show up being yourself and being open to be whatever you got to do. I might be a spiritual healer, but I do not got my shift together. I'm working on it. I'm working with you on it. So it's just nice to know that like the healer isn't supposed to just cure you. The healer is what triggers your healing and supports you to get it together for you, and being like detached too. Like that this is Deb's journey.
Right.
This is not my journey.
Yeah, right.
But I can help you doing it by this way.
Yeah. And I think, so many people, I know for myself, you sometimes need somebody to kind of guide you, give you the tools to help you on this path. Because again, going back to, we get stuck in our ruts and our ways and don't know how to get out of them sometimes. So having somebody that's able to do that like you are is incredible. Let me ask you this. Way back when you're raising your son, did you have any idea this is where you would end up today?
So I always knew there was more around me, and my son was very intuitive with things. Okay. So seeing how he would, talk to imaginary friends. Okay. I noticed that was not him just imagining things. Okay. That he was in a space where he was open enough to communicate. And it was kind of wild watching the interaction. And then as he grew older, it would also change too. So even though when they're 3 years old and they're talking to their imaginary friend or, saying, I'm like, oh, what did they say? How are they feeling? Really engaging with him, believing him, and that's hard because some people are like, you're just making it up.
Exactly.
And then watching how the children would like, and I learned a lot more too when I went into the early childhood education.
Right.
I actually ended up doing a lot more work with those behavioral students because I was able to really read their energy, calm them.
Right.
And I didn't know what I was doing at that time.
It was just
but
that
at
feeling.
the same time, it wasn't me to question.
Right.
They felt safe. They felt like they can talk. I have to report a few things, like it's what's needed, but always documenting. Going through therapy when I was young too, I had to document a lot of things.
Okay.
I was medicated for a lot of different things. Again, a lot of emotions and feelings. And I had to remember to like, my therapist would say, write it down, write it out, date it, And now as I'm older, I'm just so grateful for taking that time to document. Back to my son, as he's growing with it, I was able to talk to him about what I was going through different stages. And I can remember being him when I was his age. And with there only being like a 20-year difference, my son's 19 and I'm 39. So again, we're like growing up together and he's seen me hustle. He's seen me achieve.
Yep.
And it's just beautiful now because I can be like, Chase, I'm going to go into this. And he's like, all right, because you've been doing all this the whole time. So we've been on our own, because the relationships change. My relationships with my partners have changed, but I've always been able to co-parent with his father. Again, it's like having the conversations now with my son that he wasn't in a space to know about then.
Right.
And now that he understands what I do, the connection is so much stronger because it's not just like, oh, let's just pray on it. He's like, hey, so this happened today. Isn't it weird that? And I'm like, oh yeah, isn't it weird? I remember when I was going through, Reiki and I was talking to Chase and I was like, yeah, I saw this today, and I wouldn't talk about the person. Right. I would talk about the session.
Right.
And I have a high school diploma. I don't know anything about the body internally, anatomy. I do now with doing yoga. Right. But, and learning the systems through Reiki. He wanted to go into, electric work and computer technology. And when I started telling him about the body and what I was seeing, he was like, that's different. You just talked about the entire digestive system and you have no idea. And he is like, crazy. I feel like I'm going to change my, and then his father got into a motorcycle accident. Oh, no. So then Chase at 16 was taking his dad to therapy and he could see where the compassion was and some that were not very compassionate. And so he learned very fast how to give care and also know when it wasn't anything he can do himself. Right. Because I'm always like, this is not a thing for you. So don't worry about this. This is not your stress. It's beautiful now because he's like going for physical therapy. He's in the medical field. He talks about like all these podcasts he's listening to and he loves theories and loves science. So it's so cool because I'm so spiritual. And he's like, Mom, I heard this podcast. This guy was saying this about frequencies. And I was like, that's awesome. Because with me being a sound healer, I'm like, it works. It collaborates. It all works. So, and for these kids to be in a space where this is something that they're involved in and they're allowed to explore. Right. So with me being in Catholic school for my whole young life, and then I sent my son to a Christian school. And then when I started moving into like shamanism and Reiki and stuff, he was like, well, what are you doing? Like we were taught like you weren't supposed to play with tarot. I'm like, Chase, I'm telling you, those card pulls are just those messages. When I have a question, I'm getting the answer. Right. And if it's coming from a space of love, light, and healing and not harm, I can't go wrong. Oh no. And he is like, all right, it's working. So it's fun because sometimes his friends come over and we'll do readings and stuff. He's like, Miss Angie, will you pull me a card? Sure, I will. Like, let's do it.
Oh my gosh. And that is such a great journey that the two of you have had together. That and he's just as intuitive.
Yeah. And now with my fiance, like we've been together for 8 years. So he's seen me going through changes of work. Right. He's seen me like doing all of these things and just feeling so depleted and defeated and, having things like bipolar disorder and manic depression. He's seen me at some of my really worst cases. And I told him, I'm like, just so you know, like I gave him a list of things when we got together. I was like, don't take it personal, but take it personal. Yeah. Yeah. Now he's coming into his own journey, his own spiritualness. Like he's asking me questions. He's talking to me. He had his first tarot reading with Laura.
Oh, wow.
He went with me to the farm, the shamanic campfire story.
Oh, great.
Had a big awakening there too, and shared and let himself really be vulnerable. These 30-year-old male, they haven't been able to share those things, and even the older ones who haven't been able to explore. So I'm in the midst of getting together a yang group, which is like a yin yang group. So I'm going to be getting together for a men's group.
Awesome. Well, speaking of new classes, so what is on the horizon for yourself, the Holistic Healing Center, Stone and Sage?
Definitely working on more workshops, trying to calm myself down. Yeah, I have some shadow work chakra classes I want to do. I definitely want to start the men's group. I'm talking to my friend Logan about that, just holding space for the masculine energy. I've been working with Laura of the Gypsy Blues again with Impact Life, becoming like a peer support in recovery. I'm always trying to explore and learn more, because again, the more that I'm like diving into this and opening myself up, a lot more is coming in. So really getting myself grounded, not closing myself off, really just letting myself enjoy this gift of love and life and light, and having the community that wants to learn and grow. And I'm always like, if you have an idea that you want to learn how to do something, let me know, because I want to bring it to you and I want to learn it too, which is why I also love the Coexist, because I really want to help and understand a lot more so I can be available for a lot more. Even though I'm a Reiki master, I always have a beginner mindset. So going in completely empty, like I know nothing, and just letting the energy really showcase and lighten that space.
Wow.
Kat and I will be doing certification classes for Reiki coming up. We're going to be doing level 1, level 2. We have our punk rock flea markets getting ready to kick off. Yeah, that's on the 10th too. Yeah, I'm just really excited to continue with what we're already doing. Like the womb group is always something different. You don't need to come in and think you're going to miss something. I take everybody's email. So if they have questions, we can catch you back up. I'm really just letting myself go with wherever Gus takes me, wherever my God takes me, God, universe, spirit. So just not walking so much in fear, and knowing that like if somebody asks me to do something because they felt like they learned something from it, I'm going to really understand how I did it and how I got there, and then teach it in a class. And just, I'm really excited. I'm always learning something new, but I wouldn't be learning if nobody told me about it.
Yeah.
So again, I'm glad that people are talking about these things.
Great.
I'm like, yeah, let's talk about this more,
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Oh my gosh, Angela, you are an amazing woman. Let me tell you, from where you started to where you are, the growth, the compassion, the empathy, always looking to help others, whatever way that you possibly can. Kat and everybody else also at Stone and Sage is such a great group. And I've been in and out for the past 2 years myself, since Kat opened up the store. So I just think it's first of all, Milford is such a great little town. It's my second home. I think the energy from everybody that, helps and supports each other is such a great thing in Milford. And then to have what you give is such a tremendous asset to the community. So I'm so excited to see what's next around the horizon for Stone and Sage and the Healing Holistic Center. I'm excited.
Me too.
So
after people start listening to this, if they have ideas, tell them to just send them our way.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there anything else that you'd like to touch on that I haven't taken us down that path? And that could include how to get in contact with you all.
Yeah, I mean, we have our Facebook pages. I'm on Instagram as Miss Coexist. Facebook page is Miss Coexist, misscoexist.com. I love doing private events and parties. I'm working more on exploring more of like the grounding and shadow work. And I really like doing readings and sessions. I had some fun stuff going on at a rave. I did readings at a rave, did readings at birthday parties.
So cool.
But realistically, it's just delivering those messages at random times.
Right.
And sometimes it's like not always random. It's like divine timing.
Right.
Is what I always say. And if you feel like, oh, I'm, 60 years old or whatever, and I've never learned about this, just let yourself explore it. Like ask the questions.
Right.
Don't be afraid of the answers either. Just let yourself really feel it to heal it. Being vulnerable too right now. Because you're not alone. There's a lot of things going on around you. You're not crazy. Just really getting yourself centered and knowing that there's always somebody that wants to be there. But practice yourself first. So self-care is not selfish. So boundering, is really boundering yourself, because being a yes ma'am for all the time. I was always saying yes to everything. I'll do this and I'll do that. And I was really extending myself out.
Yes.
Which now I feel confident in what I do to allow myself to branch out like the tree. I'm so grounded right now.
So good.
So anchored. And I feel good. And it's okay to like branch out and do all of these things. And I know eventually I'll be working in hospice and palliative care. So I'll be able to grow with what I'm doing now as I get older. And I'm very excited for that. I look forward to that.
That is fantastic.
And meeting so many different people and spirits.
Your path is going to be one hell of a path.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
That's right. Hold on tight.
Thank you so much. This has been so fun.
Oh, Angela, thank you. This has been a great conversation. Thank you for being my guest on the R2RB Women Entrepreneurs podcast series. Thank you.